Let's go! Woo! This is a hot video. I only want my die-hard LSU fans with an open mind to stick with me till the end of the video. This is for my diehards who want to hear the truth about Tyler Shelvin and Ja'Marr Chase. Let's go! So yes, a lot of you have called them selfish. Why would you do this so late in the process, just a few weeks before the year began? Now, if you watched our Ja'Marr Chase emergency episode this past weekend, and if you've watched any of my content ever, I have said that true sophomores and redshirt freshmen should be allowed to enter the NFL draft. If both of them were allowed to do that from the get-go, we wouldn't even be here. But I don't want this video to be about that, okay? I'm just saying if you were in their position, you would at the very least think about it and probably do it. Because you gotta get that money, baby. Somebody show me my money. There is a downside to it. LSU, according to the ESPN FPI, is now a 7-3 football team. Just last week, when we did our schedule power ranking, LSU, according to the ESPN FPI, was 9-1. Those two players shifted LSU's win-loss column from 2 wins. That is pretty crazy, right? Was it their fault that that happened? Well, yes and no. As I've stated, these numbers aren't, solid. You still have to actually play the game. Once again, I still think Texas A&M's the toughest game on the schedule. If you want to watch that episode, click this link above or in the comments section below. But the focus isn't necessarily them. It is not their fault. It's everybody's fault. Let me explain. You know what happened the last time LSU had a quarterback go number 1 overall? Well, the very next year, they won a national championship. Yes, when Jamarcus Russell left, Matt Flynn took over, won the 2007 title. Now, that wasn't because Matt Flynn was better than Russell. It was that LSU still had enough talent to get the job done. Now that Ja'Marr Chase, who we all expect to be a first-round pick, is gone, LSU has now lost 2 first-round wide receivers. You know what happened the last time LSU lost 2 first-round wide receivers? They won the national championship the next year. Yes, the year that Russell came out, you still had Dwayne Bowe and Buster Davis go in the first round. Now, don't get it twisted. Joe Burrow is the greatest LSU quarterback and probably the greatest SEC quarterback ever. You could still win national championships if you don't win every game. That's the biggest difference between Joe Burrow and pretty much anybody else, is that Joe Burrow played so great last year that he guaranteed that you won every single game. That never happens. Only Cam Newton, in my mind, played an absolutely perfect season. It will probably never happen again in LSU history. So what does this mean? Well, we did an episode on this very exact topic, episode 9, and it rings true now more than ever. LSU's best seasons always come after they lose few players to the NFL draft. And we actually broke down the numbers in that episode, and we'll do it again now. LSU, on average, since the first 2003 national championship, roughly 6 players drafted every single year. So if you factor in the years that LSU won the SEC championship and reached the national championship game, every single one of those years, they lost 6 or fewer players to the NFL draft. And here's the crazy thing. Some of those players that they lost were some of the greatest LSU Tigers ever. In 2003, they lost Brady James the year before. In 2007, like we mentioned, Jamarcus Russell, 2 first-round receivers. They still won the title. And in 2011, when LSU had their best secondary ever, they lost Patrick Peterson the year before. Yes, the DB who started the modern era of DBU left the year before LSU had its best year under Les Miles. Then just this past year, LSU lost Devin White, but they only lost 3 players total. So, let's repeat this statement because it's crazy to even have it come out of my lips. LSU had the greatest season in school history, the greatest college football season ever, after losing its best linebacker in school history. So, what does this research and these numbers tell us? That it's not so much about losing one individual player. It's losing a multitude of players. Now, let's be honest. The deck was already stacked against Ed Orgeron, losing 14 players to the NFL draft. Brian Fisher shared this graphic of all the LSU players gone from last year's national championship team. And that graphic didn't include Blake Ferguson. Oh yeah, Joe Brady and Dave Aranda. Yes, it is a true statement that Ja'Marr Chase and Tyler Shelvin leaving hurts LSU and shifted the math in Auburn and Florida's favor according to the ESPN FPI. But in actuality, because of archaic rules that don't allow these 2 young men to live their NFL dreams, they're the ones that we're going to blame for something that is pretty much out of their control. It's not the fact that Shelvin or Chase has gone to the NFL. It's the fact that Shelvin, Chase, Burrow, Jefferson, Edwards-Helaire, Thaddeus Moss. Oh yeah, 4 of the 5 starters on the offensive line. I'm running out of fingers to count. So it's true, none of them individually is a catastrophic loss that LSU can't overcome. It is them as a whole. I felt very peaceful there. As a whole. It is them as a whole. That is the problem. Now, there is some good news, okay? Number 1, LSU, even losing those 2 guys and all the players they've lost this offseason, they are still 88% on the ESPN FPI in 6 of their 10 games. Let me repeat, LSU lost overall 30 critical pieces, whether it's coaching or players, from last year's national championship game, and they still have an 88% chance or better in 6 of their 10 games. That shows you the chasm when it comes to the haves and have-nots in college football. Even LSU losing a full roster of players, they are still significantly better than more than half of their schedule. And as we've mentioned, LSU actually got a pretty favorable schedule. They don't have to play in back-to-back weeks any top 10 recruiters. So the 4 games that they had that are coin flips or worse this year, at least it comes with a week of rest in between each and every one of those games. So yeah, I don't like the vitriol. You can have your own opinion. This is the thing. I don't want any name calling in the comment section or whatnot. That's not me. That's not us. That's not what this channel's supposed to be about. I know it can get fiery down there, but that's not what I want any of this to be, okay? It's not about who's smarter or anything like that. We can have a fiery debate. However, personally, to be mad at Shelvin or Kerry Vincent or Jamarr or whoever, I just think that's a little low. I really do, because these guys have given everything that they could possibly have to LSU. Think about it. Do you think Jamarr and Tyler want to play this year? Yeah, of course they want to play this year. They would do anything. They're competitors. That's why they were good football players in the first place. But they're doing something that they personally believe is great for the financial future of their family. That's what we all do in this society. This comes from I ate Tapix. Eric Gilbert, as a true freshman, will now lead the crew. Now, if there is a reason why I would be disappointed at Ja'Marr Chase, it's because the news broke the same day I released my Eric Gilbert stats projection piece. So people, please still go watch that video because I spent 10 hours putting that together. But Who knows? Maybe Eric Gilbert does lead the team in receiving. That would be crazy as a true freshman. Guys, we're getting up on 400 subscribers. When we get there, guess what? We will do a live show on the tube. It's Power Hour LSU. Ba, ba, ba. Da, da, da.